I'm here with Jennifer Schlueter today, an assistant professor in the Department of Theater.
Hi.
Hi. So when did you get to Ohio State?
I started teaching here in the fall of 2010, and before that I was teaching at the University of Oregon in Eugene, but I got my PhD here several years before that. So
Okay. And what were you doing in Eugene, in Oregon?
Yeah.
The same kind of thing?
I was an assistant professor there, teaching playwriting and theater history, and mentoring grad and undergrad students.
Okay. And how many plays have you written or co-written?
I have written and scene produced 4 plays, 2 of them with the Forward Company, the theater company that's producing North off-Broadway. One of them toured the state of Oregon. It was an adaptation of Imma Drose's young adult novel, Annalee in the Depths of the Night, and one of them was a short children's piece.
Okay. And what is North about?
North is about Anne Morrow Lindbergh, who was the wife to Charles Lindbergh, who most people know for his flight across the Atlantic. She also was a pilot in her own right, and she was a writer. So when my collaborator, Christina Ritter, and I were looking for a piece to work on, we were interested in Anne Lindbergh in part because her writings were so poetic, and one of the things that she wrote a lot about was the guy who wrote the book, The Little Prince, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. My French is so bad, right? But she had met him once, and she sort of, it seems from her journals that she fell like in love with him, really, although nothing was consummated, nothing ever happened, but she wrote about him again and again and again across her life. So the way Christina and I work with the Forward Company is that I build the plays entirely out of material from the historical record. So every word that's in the play was written down at one point in time by Anne Lindbergh, by Charles Lindbergh, or by St. X. So we took this real event and then used it to sort of explore her life, her anxieties about being a professional writer, and also a mother of 6 children, one of whom was abducted and murdered. So it's sort of her life in the middle of this big celebrity.
Great. And how do you approach when you write plays, not just this one? Is that the sort of approach that you take? Do you write from a historical perspective? Is that how you come up with your plays? I'm moved by history, and so in like the other half of my life, I'm teaching history classes. So I think it's probably true to say that I'm motivated by it in everything that I write. And 2 of the plays that I've done have been built entirely out of material from the historical record, North and Little Book. My other work didn't sort of begin that way, though I suppose everything. I think everything is driven by it for me, but only 2 of the 4 have really been built out of other people's writings. Okay. Is it going to be at Ohio State and then it's going to Broadway?
I'm being granted some space at Ohio State for rehearsals and to sort of get the piece remounted. It was first staged in Chicago in 2008 and revised and restaged at Lex Arts in 2011, and now we're remounting it again. There'll be a one-night performance September 29th in Mount Hall Studio at 7 p.m. It'll be free and open to the public to just sort of see what we've done, and then we'll take it to New York, where it will run from October 4th through the 28th.
Is this your first play that's gone to New York?
It is. It's my first off-Broadway play, so I'm very excited and I'm very nervous and all those things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me about the Forward Company a little bit.
We are a loose affiliation of artists. We aren't place-based, we're project-based. So I'm in Columbus right now. Christina Ritter, my joint artistic director, is living in Lexington, Kentucky. One of our central actors, Chris Roche, is in Philadelphia. Another one of our actors is in Montana right now. So there are a whole lot of people that we have sort of met over the course of our lives that we want to work together, and we come together for these particular productions. So we all sort of coalesced around doing North in Chicago. We all sort of coalesced around doing Little Book in Seattle in the summer of 2011, and now we're all coming together for this piece. And we are like motivated by the idea that we can do work that's project-based and not have to run a full season. Like lots of theaters end up needing to do 5 or 6 shows a year, own a building, maintain a building, constantly maintain an audience. And what we do is really just focus on the work and then finding places to bring us in to showcase that.
Oh, great. Okay. And you mentioned Christina. She actually is going to be in the play also?
That's right. Yeah, she and I are joint artistic directors of the company, so we share responsibility for its sort of mission and its movement forward. But she stars in the play North as Anne Morrow Lindbergh, so she's really an actor and a director, and I'm really a writer and a director. And together we collaborate to build these pieces.
That's great. Okay. North actually received some pretty rave reviews from
Yeah,
in Chicago.
it did. I'm just going to hope it's going to translate to New York. But yeah, the critical response was really positive in Chicago, which is part of why we were able to build on that and continue to raise money and move into the next steps.
Yeah. Is that how, for people that don't understand how plays work, is that how they work? You get funding, or do you get grants, or?
It totally depends. There's like two roads, I think. One road is the sort of more traditional road where you're at home and you're a writer and you write your play and you're like, oh, good, I finished the first draft. I'm going to send it out to a bunch of theaters. And many of the big theaters in the nation have literary departments where somebody reads 10 or 20 plays a day to try and find something that they want to stage. And those more traditional theaters build their season, and if they want your play, they'll contact you, they'll pay you royalties, and it'll get staged. But it will often be by people that you don't know. The director is not somebody you know. You won't know the cast. And that's the sort of the way many people build their career, is submitting their work around and getting it picked up and building momentum, but not having to pay for it themselves or mount their own productions. The other road that I'm taking, that the Forward Company is taking, and that also some artists that I admire are taking, like Anne Bogart and the City Company, like Young Jean Lee and her company out of New York, want to build the plays from beginning to end with people that they trust and that they want to work with. And so they maintain, and we maintain, control over our texts and over their staging, and we aren't submitting them around for random people to produce. But with that sort of excitement comes the responsibility of raising the money, of hustling for the marketing, of finding your venues, all those things.
That's great. Okay. And when did you say that your North is going to be?
October 4th through the 28th at 59 East 59th Theaters in New York City.
That's great. All right. I'd like to thank you for talking with me today. And this is Misty Tall from The Lantern. And thanks, everybody, for listening, and keep writing.